for you.
I use 2 bags of tea because I'm stressed out because of being in quarantine. So 2 bags.
Okay, you're a teabagger. I see how it is. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming in. We very much appreciate
Website for that.
we very much appreciate you coming. Thank you so much for coming into the Alex and Mark Show. I'm Alex Madajan, and that is Professor Mark McIntyre. We are overjoyed to see you here today as we find millions upon millions and billions of children are stuck at home, away from school, and so they are dreaded with the curse of being forced to actually learn something instead of being in a government-sponsored school. Absolute tragedy. The whole world is like melting down. And, children are being educated by their parents. Parents are actually spending time with children. It's a disaster. Cats and dogs. Hell on earth. No one knows what to do. So I'll tell you what to do. Give us money. We would very much appreciate it. You give us a one-time PayPal, but we would even more appreciate it if you did monthly, because we promise you our wonderful podcast will distract your whole family if you throw more money at us. So please do that.
I want a $100 bill to use as a face mask during the virus thing.
I want one too. I want 2 of those things. and also, if you don't want to throw money at us, which you should anyway, you can also like, subscribe, share, and follow, and all those wonderful things, and put us in the faces of all your other friends digitally. That'd be great. Right. So, what exactly? The numbers of how many students are out of school are virtually 100%. Virtually every public school is, out now.
Something like 6 million students are not going to classes anymore. As a formerly homeschooled student yourself, what do you think is going? Because we're looking down the road here, folks. What's going to happen after all this crisis is over? What do you think the homeschool phenomenon, Alex, is going to look like after this China virus is in the rearview mirror?
Well, I think that a lot of parents are going to realize, I'll tell, like some schools, what they do is they give their kids like a little worksheet, and I think the parents realize it doesn't really take much to educate your students. You don't need a whole school and lunch cafeteria staff and all, you don't need like a giant army and tens of thousands of dollars to teach your child how to read, write, and love to learn.
And counselors to make sure they're choosing the right gender pronouns. Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of waste in public schools, a lot of waste. And parents are finally realizing, the best thing that can help your child is one-on-one development. The worst thing for your child is abandoning them to just the ether and just go out and be a better person rather than one-on-one love and care.
So you think there's going to be an increase in homeschooling? What do you think?
Well, if it were for short term, I think people would say to themselves, oh, I never, ever, ever want to homeschool again. I think that there will be some people that are relieved because, everyone is forced to be home. So there are situations where both parents are working and nobody's at home. So when, the quarantine's out, they're not going to go back.
But if your parents are stupid, how are they going to homeschool you? If they can't read or write or do basic mathematics, how are they going to train their students, their children, in reading and writing and basic mathematics? Because most of our population is stupid.
Well, yeah, but they're not
in government schools all their lives. If you're right, then you're wrong, because they've been in these schools. They don't know. They're concerned about gender bending. They're concerned about socialism. They don't consider.
We're talking the minorities here. Okay, like only Cuba beats us in literacy, and that's because they shoot all the stupid people.
Right.
Parents are learning. It doesn't take much. It just takes your time. That's a big thing. Asking for somebody's time. But that's what's required if you want your child to be educated. I think it's a huge irony over in Germany that, where they banned homeschooling. There actually was one case where they broke down the door in the middle of the night and grabbed children away from this German family because they dared to homeschool their children. And the government reason was they wanted to teach tolerance irony on irony.
Gender
Now,
identity. Yes, yes.
I find it like
How are your genitals, little boy?
now,
Yes.
now the Germans are like basically, the government is forcing their parents to homeschool, which I find the greatest irony of our.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Humans make plans and God laughs at them.
No, I was on Twitter. I was on Twitter, and this little boy, they published his note to his friend. He wrote this little note, and he's being homeschooled for the first time because he was in a government school. I think he was like 12 or 13, something like that. So he writes this note, handwritten, printed note to his friend, and it says, I'm at home being schooled by mom. This is not going well. She's confused, and she asked for some time to figure it out, and she hasn't figured it out yet. And then the tagline was, "This is not good. This is not good." Yeah. So here's a poor kid got a stupid parent who can't teach him anything.
Well, I mean, it's not so much that it is a matter of patience.
Yeah.
There's no question about it that you have to be much more patient if you're interested, rather than throwing your child off to some caregiver. You're the one that has to be patient now. So that's a big deal.
That's right.
I actually just talked with my mom a few minutes ago about this. And she's learned, and there very much is a flood of homeschool, like a massive explosion in sort of emergency homeschoolers. So all the people that were mocking homeschool moms and homeschool families now are like crawling at them for advice.
Signing up, yeah.
Oh, it's just the most juicy thing ever. It's hilarious. So, in spite of all that, I really do admire people for trying, for as much as they mock and all that. As far as advice from veteran homeschoolers such as my mother goes, she understands that if you need the job, and both parents need the job, you can't spend the time, because you do need to spend time with your kid. That's the big thing. You can't homeschool, just like throw your kid in front of a bunch of books and say, okay, bye, I'm off to work. No. You do time. No. You can't do both. You can't do both. I've seen people try, and some people can do it, but that's because they're, inhuman. It's not.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. That's it. Don't do it. Hey, what do you think about this? Somebody suggested to me that homeschooler parents that are finding themselves, they have to spend all day with their kids and try to school them, and if they're really stupid or they don't know how to teach fractions and all that business, what they should do is get on the internet with their child and explore something that the child has been interested in, like astronomy or biology or chemistry or something like, and they do it together, right? What do you think about that idea?
I think that's a wonderful idea. They're very much, all the major homeschooling curriculum out there, virtually all of them. This goes back to my original point, which I want to reinforce really, really hard, is that you can't do it with just throwing the child out there. You have to be with the child and doing it with the child. Yeah. Now, some veteran homeschoolers consider it a huge success if they can get through a math lesson, a Bible lesson, and then maybe like go outside and do some nature studying or whatever. Like that to them is a victory day, because most of the learning is done by the student by themselves. They only come to you for guidance and for helping. If it's a very small child, then they need lots of encouragement.
Yeah.
You're not gonna, that myth that homeschooling is just kids sitting in a bunch of chairs and the parent giving a lecture on physics and math and history, like that's never been the case, unless your mom is like 5 PhDs and has been training her whole life. Like that doesn't happen. Never happens. Ever. And if they have 5 PhDs, you probably get a worse education. But anyway,
yeah, exactly.
No, it happens because homeschooling happens because the parents care about the kids,
right,
and are pushing them to learn on their own.
I think this is a great moment to reconnect with your students, reconnect with your own children, because now the mother and the father are both pursuing careers so they can afford to buy a timeshare in Hawaii. And the hell with the timeshare in Hawaii. What's more important than your kid? I think that you should start a new website called Homeschooling for Dummies. Home.com.
Trust me, those are
for dummies.com, and you should instruct these stupid parents how to conduct a
I mean, I
homeschool.
don't have any kids, so I mean, I don't know how I.
That's all right. I've been educating other people's kids all my life. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry
Yeah,
about
but
it.
you're
It's
stupid.
tremendous.
What are you talking about?
What?
Yeah, but you're stupid.
All right.
Makes you a perfect parent. What am I saying? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I don't have enough college degrees to be stupid. Okay.
All right, we're running out of time.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you so much, Professor McIntyre.
Thanks a lot. Send us some money.
Out there, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you. I'd love to talk with you guys. I love you so much.